many.
This is the
Its
Bible of
classrooms
the
echoing.
electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
The skinny. No one at Elephantine Academy could have imagined the storm they were walking into. On the surface, it was just a school, one more academy among many, its classrooms echoing with bells, chatter, and the clatter of lockers. But beneath that polished exterior lived a pulse that reached back 5,000 years. A pulse tied to pyramids on the horizon and scriptures written before the Bible. A pulse that moved in rhythm with breath itself. Into this current walked the Abs and the Reals, children raised in the palace but forced to wrestle with truths that could topple empires. It started almost innocently, with lessons that seemed larger than the room they were taught in. Dr. Rich pulled the veil off cardiology and showed that the Christ wave was more than previously expected. The Christ wave was not just a line on a hospital monitor, but the covenant of life itself, a code uniting body, mind, and the divine. Madame Layla unrolled the New Testament like papyrus and told her students the spirit was nothing mystical at all, only breath, the same force called ruach in Hebrew, ka in Kemet, pneuma in Greek. Baba Malik threw aside gym mats and drilled his students until their lungs and legs were burning, then explained that cardio was not exercise, but electricity, the sacred conversion of air and motion into coherence. Each teacher gave fragments, but together the fragments built something new, a way of seeing science, scripture, and the self as one seamless current. The children absorbed it faster than even the adults could have predicted. They began comparing notes at night, whispering over smoothies in Mars' room, learning that happiness expanded their vessels while anger spiked their pressure, that sadness could collapse coherence and rage could blow the fuse of the heart. They laughed about ESP, but noticed it happening. Flashes of foresight, synchronicities, Osiris knowing Seth's next move before it came. They were becoming living antennas, practicing martial arts breathing patterns, sharpening themselves into conductors of current. What they didn't realize was that their little experiments were putting them on a collision course with the largest empire of all, Pharmakia. Pharmakia thrived, not on healing, but on hiding. Pharmakia thrived, not on healing, but on hiding. Heart drugs, miracle pills, fat loss serums paraded across screens while heart disease remained the #1 killer in the world. They hired influencers, even Katina Gilliam, the greatest tennis player alive, to sell illusions of health. But when Osiris, the quietest of all the Abs children, locked horns with Seth in a classroom debate and the footage went viral, Pharmakia's web began to tear. The fight wasn't even about punches anymore. It was about attention. Millions of parents, teachers, scholars, even politicians were suddenly forced to take sides, asking if pills or push-ups, if profits or breath truly ruled the heart. The scrimmages came next. Elephantine versus Opulence Academy, a rivalry soaked in dynastic bloodlines and buried prophecies. Seth's sabotage was expected, but Osiris flipped the script, taking third place, letting Seth win, and saving his school from Pharmakia's plot without a single punch thrown. The basketball team set a record: 27 offensive charges, 27 points, as if the current itself were scoring with them. The stands erupted, not just in cheers, but in chaos. Debates breaking out, parents brawling, guards rushing in to stop the fights. It wasn't just a game, it was the front line of a war for reality, for history, for the meaning of breath and light. Back at the palace, the children weren't sleeping, they were writing. Pull your own weight was no longer just an idea, it was a weapon. A children's book that wrapped cardio science, comedic wisdom, and biblical parallels into simple rhymes and drawings. They plotted audiobooks, viral releases, chapters to drop during scrimmages so their rivals would be distracted even as they were defeated. They unearthed secrets from Offset, that Israel itself meant Sarah, children of Ra, that the earliest Israelite seals bore Kepra, the scarab of becoming, that bread and beer from Osiris became bread and wine for Christ, that the entire Bible was a younger book of Ani, and in that library, surrounded by Ark and toys, the kids realized they weren't just fighting for victory in sports or debates. They were resurrecting a civilization's stolen memory. By the time the first chapter of their book hit the net, the world was already ablaze. Anonymous pages reposted it. Pastors argued it from pulpits. Professors pulled up parallels in dusty texts. Pharmakia's executives scrambled, and children in other schools began breathing differently, standing straighter, asking questions. The Abs and Real children had no illusions now. They were in a war far larger than themselves. One fought with science, scripture, sport, and song. And Osiris stared down Seth as Rich and the king prepared their next move. And as the world turned its eyes on Elephantine Academy, one truth hummed louder than any bell. This was no longer school. This was the front line of a resurrection.
Rise up, get healthy, let the truth ignite. Dr. Inky always bringing dark to light. See Moss in your system, make you feel so clean. Breathe, feel the inspiration, live out your dreams, please. 3 years deep, Dr. Inky in the fight. Healing souls with knowledge, bringing truth to the light. Held it down for Amber, but started small but bold. Now it's a community staple, the stories unfold. Diabetes reverse, for who? Icky got it on deck, the blood pressure dropping too. That high blood tame with his famous sea moss. Empowering the people and never counting the cost. July 10th, 2022. We'll never forget. Health revolution spark, the fire's burning, yeah. From a YouTube page to a global wave. Let's go. The knowledge and the power Dr. Inky could truly save. Watch our hearts awake, breathe, feel the movement's inspiration. Chains break, wisdom lights the way, standing ovation. Yeah. Rise up, get healthy, let the truth ignite. Dr. Inky always bringing dark to light. See Moss in your system, make you feel so clean. Breathe, feel the inspiration, live out your dreams, please. Get healthy, let the truth.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.